Now, sir, tell us, this is being described by Rahul Gandhi as a win for, in a sense, he's linked it to the Rafale case. He said the truth of Rafale will destroy Mr. Modi. It's only a question of time before full evidence of his role in the theft of the 30,000 crores becomes public. Congratulations to the Supreme Court for upholding the law. Now, are we to understand from this that he believes that now that Mr. Verma is back in the saddle, that he will go ahead and now initiate an investigation into the Rafale case?
No, I don't think that that I am entitled to render an opinion on that.
Because Rahul Gandhi has.
No, he has not said that he will take a decision. He has said that the Rafale, what happened in Rafale will be finally before the public. It's unrelated to what will happen in the CBI.
Right.
I mean, the facts on Rafale are every day, right, turning up in the public, right?
But he's linked it to this particular Supreme Court order, so hence the assumption that now Mr. Verma will act on Rafale.
No, that you're assuming what Rahul Gandhi is saying. He's not saying any of that.
Okay.
He's only saying that, one, it's a great victory. And our suspicion always was that they wanted to prevent certain matters to be taken forward. That was our suspicion.
Including Rafale?
I don't know. There are many things. So maybe that's the reason why they removed him temporarily, right? Now, whether he can or not, that's not something that depends on the reading of the order.
So what is your reading of the order? Because the order does say that the issue of the divestment of power and authority of the CBI director is still open for consideration.
That's correct.
And therefore it goes before the committee. And till then, he has to cease and desist from taking any major policy decisions.
Correct.
Will be only confined to the exercise of ongoing routine functions without any fresh initiative.
That's correct.
So how would you interpret fresh initiative?
Well,
will it give him the power to register an FIR?
See, first of all, I don't think that I'm in a position to opine on that, for the simple reason that any opinion I give will be seen to be politically motivated. Right? That will be the charge against us.
No, but yours could simply be a legal interpretation of the order. You're a very respected Supreme Court lawyer.
It is for the CBI director to interpret this order within the contours of what the Supreme Court has said. And it's not for me to render an opinion. It would not be fair. Especially for a politician who is also a lawyer to render an opinion. Not right.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay,
but
yes.
Let's be clear on one thing. Any matters which were ongoing, any matters which were in the pipeline, any matters which are not fresh, all those matters in a routine manner can be taken forward.
But is the registry of an FIR considered routine? Technically, I'm asking.
No, I don't know. See, for example, the same impediment was imposed on Nageshwar Rao, right? And he's moved against Akhilesh
Yadav.
Akhilesh Yadav, he's moved against the same imposition was on Nageshwar Rao.
Right.
Now, how the Supreme Court interprets that, I don't know.
Okay.
So I don't want to render any opinion.
Okay, you're being surprisingly cautious on this particular issue.
I should be, and I don't think that as a politician.
Okay, but do you see this as a clear setback to the government, because it is a qualified order?
Oh yes, it's a great setback for the government. In fact, it's most unfortunate that the finance minister says that we just followed what the CBC did.
That's right. That's his defense.
Which is completely unfortunate for the finance ministers to say that, because the government argued that the committee really had no role to play after the name was recommended. And now it was for the central government to decide to move against him under the disciplinary rules, because he's an IPS officer, and the Solicitor General argued that we can move against him. Right? So there's nothing to do with the CBC. Number two, they said that the central government who appointed this officer has also the power to remove him under the General Clauses Act.
Right.
That's nothing to do with the CBC recommendation.
Right.
So when the finance minister makes a public statement like that, contrary to the record and contrary to the order, all I can say is that he's trying to defend something that is indefensible.
But the fact that the court has not fully allowed him to exercise his powers, that it has sort of put him in limbo till this committee meets, you don't think that suggests that the centre's case, that there was something against him, there is still a question mark over his conduct, that stands validated?
On the contrary. Please understand the verdict of the court. The court says these issues could not have been taken forward either by the CVC or by the union government.
Right.
Because under the Act, they had to refer the matter to the committee.
Right.
And without the prior approval of the committee,
Right.
no step forward could be taken.
Right.
So because both the central government as well as the CVC took the matter forward without the prior approval of the committee, the matter now goes to the committee. And because the matter goes to the committee, therefore the Supreme Court feels, maybe rightly, that while we are considering the matter, no such fresh steps should be taken.
Okay.
Okay? I think that's the context in which the judgment has been rendered.
You think that's a fair interpretation of the
No, but
circumstances by the court?
That's what the Supreme Court says.
Right.
Whether it's fair, not fair, is not for me to say. That's what the Supreme Court says, that we are now seized of the matter. At the outset and at the outside limit, within 1 week, we will decide this matter. And if we find there's nothing in it, then of course his term will go on. But the cease and desist order, in the context in which they have worded it, will operate till then.
And about this question of whether Mr. Verma should get the additional period of his term, which has been, which was suspended prior to this order, how do you read that from this order?
That's something on which I have an opinion.
Okay.
Because the statute says that he shall get a 2-year term.
Right.
It's a fixed tenure.
Right.
So from the 23rd of October till today, he could not function.
Yes.
So that period must be excluded in order that he serves a 2-year term.
Oh, I see. So you feel that should be added on.
That should be, that must be, because when you say that you have a 2-year term,
Right.
and in the meantime, you have thrown him out of office in a sense, de facto,
Right.
you have paralyzed his functioning, then you must ensure a 2-year term.
So whose task, because the court doesn't make that clear, so whose
Well,
task
maybe
will
the
that be
court doesn't make
to ensure that?
clear, but that's for the committee now to take up.
Right.
That's for the committee to take up, that he must, after all, if you are saying that he must complete a 2-year term, and these orders that are passed, the 3 orders passed on 23rd of October, were jurisdictionally defective, then you have to make him, then you have to reinstate him and complete his 2-year term.
But overall, Mr. Sibal, politically you feel that this has been, in balance, a much greater setback for the government.
Oh, absolutely, without any doubt, because all these midnight orders,
Yes.
you've seen demonetization was midnight, GST was midnight, this was a midnight order. This government seems to be very fond of midnight orders, but I think that they didn't think things through. And see, the conduct of the union government has to be answered, because what did they do? They put up somebody there, right? All the officers that he had appointed who were doing very serious investigations were transferred out.
Right.
So obviously the union government and the CVC and these fellows were supporting,
Right.
and they put somebody out there as in charge, temporarily in charge, which also has been struck down by the Supreme Court. So Nagaeshwar Rao's appointment struck down. He is to be reinstated. Central government's order struck down. CVC's order struck down. So it's a complete loss for the government and a loss of face.
Last question. I'm going to try to persist once again, though you say you won't answer the question. You're saying that you don't want to comment on whether he will have the powers to register an FIR or not. But some would argue that registry of an FIR or a preliminary inquiry is very much part of the routine functioning of an
So
investigating agency.
it's like this. The Supreme Court has held in several judgments that if allegations are made which constitute an offence, then it's obligatory to lodge an FIR.
Right.
So that's what the Supreme Court order says.
Okay.
Okay? And that's what the law is.
Okay.
Now, it's not for me to render any opinion on this.
Okay.
Whether this order of the Supreme Court prevents the CBI director, when reinstated, not to follow the law is a question that the CBI director will have to answer, not me.
Okay, but by citing the Supreme Protocol, at least the Supreme Court Protocol, you've given us some idea, at least of what the legal precedent is when it comes to the registry of an FIR.
Legal precedent dehorsed this order.
Right.
But legal precedent in the context of this order is something for the CBI director to decide.
All right, Mr. Sibal, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
Thank you.